A look at the latest where you are now. It's the ITV News.
Hello again. Now the main stories in London. As you've been hearing, a man in his 30s has been arrested after a double stabbing in Brentford. A man believed to be aged 20 was killed and an 82-year-old woman hospitalised. It happened on Friday evening around Albany Road. Anna Geary has the latest.
The spot in West London where a man thought to be just 20 years old was pronounced dead. Police were called to the Albany Road area in Brentford at around 10 to 7 last night, where they found the victim with stab wounds. An 82-year-old woman was also discovered with similar injuries. She was taken to hospital, but her condition is not life-threatening. Today, residents expressed their pain.
She's lovely. What more can you say about someone? You see them every day. Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's a shock, isn't it?
It is. She's a lovable character. She stops and talks to everybody, and you couldn't wish to meet a nicer person.
Meanwhile, tributes were left for the male victim as a post-mortem examination is carried out. Following the stabbings here last night, a man in his 30s was arrested this morning on suspicion of murder and attempted murder. He is in custody, but whilst inquiries are ongoing, police have said there is nothing to suggest that this is terrorism related. Officers are not looking for further suspects, but as forensic investigations continue, they are appealing for potential witnesses to contact them. Anna Geary, ITV News, Brentford.
The husband of Nazanin Zaghari-Ratcliffe has ended his hunger strike for his wife's release after 21 days. Richard Ratcliffe has spent 3 weeks outside the Foreign Office after Nazanin lost her latest appeal. She's been imprisoned in Iran since 2016. Mr. Ratcliffe said he wanted to leave the protest with his head held high rather than in an ambulance. The Lord Mayor's show was back in the City of London this afternoon with a 3-mile procession from Mansion House to the Royal Courts of Justice. The 2020 show was cancelled because of the pandemic, but returned with floats and army parades today. There was also some disruption from climate activists attempting to block the route. The man in charge of the pageant, Dominic Reed, said it was amazing to be back with a bang in the Square Mile.
It's amazing to be back. You know, we're back with a bang, back with a buzz. It's just fantastic. You can hear the noise behind me, you can hear the crowds. The excitement's palpable. It's just fantastic to be back doing stuff in the real world after COVID. It's fantastic.
Now let's take a look at the sport for you.
For the love of the game. eBay sponsors ITV Regional Sports Reports.
It was a 1-1 draw in the Women's Super League match between Tottenham and Arsenal. Spurs took an initial lead with a goal from Rachel Williams in the North London derby, marking the first time the Gunners were behind this season. But Vivian Miedemar scored and secured Arsenal's unbeaten record with a stoppage time equaliser at the Hive. And finally, a cast of princesses were out in Covent Garden this morning with a Frozen takeover to promote the hit West End show. Ice sculptures of each of the characters were on display, as well as the actors behind Elsa, Anna, Kristoff and Sven. Having premiered in September, the cast were excited about the buzz of the theatre returning to the capital.
It's just so exciting to be here with a show like Frozen and seeing so many young faces dressed up as Anna and Elsa, and it just feels like a really special time.
You know, just walking through the West End is just so bustly and full of life again, so it's just really special to be kind of bringing theatre back at this time, and I think we really just feel so grateful for that every day. It's a joy.
But will it be frozen tonight? Here is James Wright with the weekend weather. 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 The weekend weather
Hello there, good evening. We are heading towards the end of autumn as we go into winter next month, but really the weather is surprisingly settled. We've got a lot of high pressure around, particularly across southern parts of the British Isles. That's keeping things that would normally plough straight across us, these Atlantic fronts, at bay. And even when they do get to us, it's really just bringing us a bit of extra cloud and not a great deal else. There has been a lot of cloud around today. That pretty much continues overnight. Might see a little bit of drizzly, light, showery rain, but really that's about all. Because of that cloud, it's actually going to be relatively mild overnight. We're looking at lows of 9 to 11 Celsius. So as we go into Remembrance Sunday, a bit of a mixed bag, some brightness starting to develop. As we get into the latter part of the morning and into the afternoon, things do brighten up a touch. Might see a little bit of light showery rain, but really that's all it's going to amount to. Temperature-wise, remaining on the mild side, we're looking at highs of 13 or 14 Celsius, so a couple of degrees up on where we'd like to be at this time of year, so nice and mild. Thing is, temperatures do start to slide back to where they ought to be. It means that on Monday, a bit of a chilly start, could be a frosty start, but then things start to recover temperature-wise. This front here eventually pushes down across us, and like I say, will bring us a bit of extra cloud, but as you can see, temperatures back to where they ought to be, with highs of 10 Celsius. Have yourself a good evening. More details later.
That's all from the London team for now. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 to 7. Bye-bye.